There you go.
Well, there we are.
Good evening. Today is February 7th, 2019. Welcome to the Reuben Hoare Library Board of Trustee meeting. We're going to start with public participation. We have Steve Venuti here to discuss the Bartholomew report. And we're going to start with that.
Welcome, Steve. Want to come right up?
So is there anything in particular you'd like to
Mark?
discuss?
Well, there was, I remember, just reread my email, or the email I got, and we were looking for information on the 100 group and the 200 group, how they
Oh, right. Yeah,
worked.
yeah.
What I'd like to know is what the different headers mean,
Sure.
and if they roll over and when, like, are they in, is it a calendar year accumulation or total accumulation and things like that, so.
Okay. On the report, we had a very good January, so. I'll show that when we get to it. First column, beginning market value. So with securities, market value is anything with, so it's total accumulation, principal, interest, and then they price the securities right to market. So if something you bought something at $10 and you've gotten interest on it, but it's worth $12 now, there's a $2 unrealized gain. That's market. Okay? And every once in a while they do sell securities and realize those gains, and we'll see that in the next couple of columns.
So beginning is beginning.
Market from its last.
So
month.
this is, the beginning market value then for this report is January 1st? Since this is
December 31st.
December 31st, okay.
Principal, same thing. Principal from last month. We don't touch principal, so it just accumulates. Although we did put something in, and you'll see that when we get to the column, there was some deposits made, I believe, this period, if not the previous period. Beginning earnings, same thing. Earnings from December 31st. That is income. So we're making the distinction in these funds between income and realized gains. The trustees, the trust commissioners generally sell or utilize only the earnings piece. So they don't like to really touch although they're available, the realized gains and losses, they rather let accumulate in the funds.
So, and the beginning earnings,
Mm-hmm.
like on the first one for Houghton Foundation in 21/22/19, is that for the earnings for 1 month?
No, that's forever.
Okay, since it was deposited, that's,
Yes.
okay.
So earnings from the beginning.
From the
Yes.
beginning.
Okay.
Okay.
Same thing, beginning realized gain and loss, that's
From the inception.
previous month, yep, from inception. Then we start in these middle columns, what happened during the month itself. Okay. Net income, January had no income payments. Most of the payments on funds come in January, not January, December. So mutual funds pay all their capital gains and income in December. And a lot of funds are quarterly, and so you'll see some things come in quarterly. Very few, some of the bond funds, and it's probably the timing of when they cut it off for the month, some of the bond funds should pay a monthly dividend. It probably came in too late, and they'll show it on the next report. Okay. Realized gains and losses, they sold some securities in January and took some gains. So that security that was worth $12 that you spent $10 on, they took that $2 in because they sold it in market, and that's the realized gains for that period. So for this current month.
Okay.
Okay?
That's per month.
That's per month. Transfer of principal. So this is, why do they have transfer of principals here? They shouldn't be transferring principal. I'll look into that with them. Earnings, transfer of earnings, in the month of January, we took out the budget things from last year, plus the $4,000 that was requested for MMDT, and the $1,900 that was requested for MMDT. Kind of held off in taking the $4,000 out until we did the whole thing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
So I will get back to, I'll send you guys an email about that transfer of principal and what that's looking at. And then you start the ending columns. Ending principal is just beginning principal plus any contributions, and comes to ending. Same thing with earnings, realized gains. Ending cash value is principal, earnings, and realized gains added together. That's cash value. Then we look at the unrealized gains and losses, so that $2, for example, at 10, you bought it at 10, it's worth 12. They track in that first column that says change in unrealized gains and losses. That is what happened in repricing the securities in this current month. Okay, so in the month of January, we had a gain of $56,000 in the portfolio. It brought the total unrealized gain or loss to a loss of $46,000. Okay.
Where,
Page
That's
two.
oh, I see, okay.
I have it on one sheet.
Oh, yeah, I know what Gotcha, okay.
Okay, so in the previous month, it would have been a loss of 46 plus 56 at 102,000. That's, my math is right.
Trust it is.
And then the ending market value of $1.2 million. So that's what the library has working for them with Bartholomew, is 1.2. The building fund, if you look from the Fund 404, towards the bottom. So this is what you have in here, $15,000 on top of what you have in MMDT. So these are the stock donations that we received. Leave them in this account. You can grab them whenever you'd like and put them with the other MMDT dollars if you want, or you can let them sit here. And the 405 fund, the Rombacher Family Fund, that's a new fund that was set up in December. Now, the difference between the funds, and is it Laura? Laura? Is she the director previously?
Oh, Laura Zalewski?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had gone through all the old documents that were there to put all the donations that the library received. And she was able to go in and look at the trust documents that were there and say what the purpose of those funds were. Some had restrictions on them. So in that first section, that 100 section, so this is for books only. So when you take money out of those funds, you can only purchase them for books, so,
Yeah.
okay?
And
And
same
it's,
for the 200s for the kids.
and yes, 200 is for children's books.
Yeah.
And it's principal preservation on those funds, so you can only really touch earnings,
Right.
okay?
So theoretically, the 15,000 that gets moved, when we go to trust funds, is supposed to be for physical materials like books that hasn't been updated in language to reflect how the library purchases really. Because when that was written, that was probably books were the standard format. Now the format has changed so much that books are a much smaller percentage of what we do purchase.
So I think we're fine legally on that. It's more like, it's for materials for the library, right?
Materials is the word that I like.
And children's, and then the 200 funds are for children's
Children's materials.
specific
Specifically for
materials,
children.
right?
Okay.
So,
If we look back at some of the older documents for the town's trust funds, for example, I think some old, they specify that it needs to be held in a passbook account
Okay.
at this bank.
Could you find one of those?
So,
Okay. Okay, so don't split hairs.
after the time.
some of them also say things like we have to apply railroad stocks with them. And things like that. So,
Okay.
Railroad stocks, my God.
So I think that the other sections are pretty self-explanatory. The section 3 is basically purchase what you'd like, only you can't spend principal.
Right.
And then section 4 is spend it how you like, but you can touch principal.
So, one of my other questions is, we've been taking roughly 15,000 for the materials budget out,
Mhm.
and we've been concentrating on the two book fund numbers, but it doesn't look like that is sustainable long-term to only touch those, right? Because it seems like we're going to run out of earnings to grab from them, right? So,
You can divvy them up however you
well,
like.
yeah, I mean, we could touch the other funds. I don't know if that's the best. I mean, it is a use of them. I don't know if it should be what we're primarily focusing those on. But what's the given number now that you should be expecting? I mean, it used to be like you could take out like 5% and not expect anything. Is that still the going number, or is it 4% or 2%? You know, that you're
In-
expecting these things to kick off. What should we expect our return to be on these numbers, so we know what we would be reasonably budgeting to take out?
Right now, the income that comes in, not capital gains, but just the pure income, is probably in the 2% area right now. Capital gains throws off a lot in the month of December. So that's where the biggest piece comes from. In total, the trustees, so there's $5 million total, just over $5 million total in the total trust funds. The commissioners kind of look for a minimum of $100,000 off that. They've been getting probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000 to $175,000 per year total. Okay. If you're concentrating on a separate fund and you need to touch realized gains, it's available. That's all. But if you could spread it out onto the income side, it would be a little
Yeah,
better.
yeah, so, I mean, for the past, I don't know, since these funds were divvied up this way and we're taking money from specific funds,
Mhm.
for whenever we have the materials budget number, it always comes out of the 1 and 200 number funds. But it doesn't look like that can last for more than another 2 or 3 years before those funds, the earnings in those funds are going to effectively be exhausted, right? And we're going to be touching something else at that rate, right?
You can use section 3 for whatever you'd like.
Yeah, yes, we can.
And there's some larger funds there too.
Mhm.
So and you're gonna use 82,000 in one fund there, 76, 21. So some of those numbers are accumulating.
Okay. But 2% is a good number to figure we should be touching, or could reasonably touch now, or when we're going through the budget process?
Yeah.
2%.
Okay.
All right.
I did bring some sheets. Maybe you'd have. guys. I'll share. So this is a little performance summary as of January 31st. The numbers on the left are, again, for the total trust funds. You can see this $5 million that the trust commission is managing. The performance summary is for the 12 months ending 12/31. So you can see when it says year-to-date, that's 2019. The one-year number is the 12 months ending 1/31. So it's a 4.45% loss that we had last year. The stock market was down. It did do better than the indexes right next to it. So what Bartholomew does is they make sure that they're performing okay, and so they take, indexes that perform close to what the makeup of this portfolio is overall. And they blend it together, so you can see 4.91. They're actually really go to that third column, the 60/30/10 global equities, bonds, and liquid assets. So it's a 5% loss that the market took. So we took less than the market. So far in January, so the month to date, so that's the January and the quarter to date and year to date, it's all just January numbers. We're lagging just a little behind where market is. But if you look at the 10-year number, 9% on an annual yield, that's pretty good. I will find out what that principal number is.
It's interesting, because I don't
Stay
remember
there.
ever seeing so much red on these reports in this column.
There should be nothing in that column,
Well,
because
there's
we
a
don't
lot.
touch it. But I will find out.
Thank you.
I have one more question. On the building fund, you asked us at one point to leave the stock donations in there for a period of time. What period did you prefer? I mean, some of them have been in there for a year, some of them 2 years, I think now.
Which
In the building fund, when we got the stock donations in, you said we should leave them in Bartholomew for good faith for a little while. What's your,
Take them out if you like.
okay. Okay,
Great.
I don't have any questions.
I do want to congratulate you for the amount of money that you've raised. It's very good.
Thank you.
Looking at it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for
Thank you.
coming this
Okay.
evening.
Oh, no problem at all. Is that okay with everybody?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great,
Thank you.
Can I ask a real basic question before you leave? So, let me just understand one thing. The way this works is, if the stock market is doing badly, they move some of our money into more bonds, or they don't.
Now that,
They just let it fall where it may and hope that the bonds that they're using offset the stock market.
portfolio is set to be, 60/30 split
Okay.
between them. And they don't try and time the market, they don't guess the market.
Okay,
They're investing for,
okay,
the
so,
long haul,
okay,
so
yeah, okay, so that's
it
what I,
has its ups and downs, it
Yeah,
works,
yeah.
it doesn't. They'll rebalance the portfolio
if they
every
have a.
few months.
Okay.
If the stock market is doing really well,
Mhm.
there's a lot of gains there to take. They'll take those gains and rebalance
Redistribute
the
them. Okay,
portfolio
Okay,
to bring the bond port side back up.
okay.
But they won't try and
They don't
predict
reallocate
what the
them,
market
okay.
is. Yeah.
Not doing this daily.
No. No, I meant like, when they, like, maybe even quarterly or whatever, do they look at it and look at the gains and losses and then adjust? But it's more like a targeted fund, this is like, so it's looking for the long-term gains.
Yeah, but they do look at it quarterly to rebalance, but because a lot of the things that come in January, they'll probably be going through a rebalancing in the next month or so.
December was a really bad month.
December was a really bad month.
For all kinds of.
Made it back up in January, which was good.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Have a good evening. I'd say go Patriots, but they already went. Have a good evening. Wow, okay.
Okay, we're gonna move on to correspondence. There's none. Approval of minutes from January 3rd, 2019. It should be 19. Oops, that's all right. I'm still adjusting that we're in 2019 and not 2018 and remembering to write that.
I don't have any issues.
I don't know that.
Motion to accept the minutes?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, the January 3rd, 2019 minutes have been approved. Treasurer's report.
Where was I? Hang on, here it is. Excuse me. Treasurer's report came in just yesterday or the day before. MMDT balance is $2,817.79. The building fund is $448,595.95.
Is there anything else you want to add for the treasurer's report?
No.
Okay, moving on to Friends report.
Okay, I attended the Friends meeting on January 16th. The Friends will be transferring $3,494 of accumulated funds to the building fund from their Friends account. Holiday Bazaar earned $1,667. The CD flash sale earned $165. The raffle earned $228.50, and the Santa letters for both 2017 and 2018 was a total of $240. Apparently, they didn't deposit the money from the 2017 until 2018, and they were catching up on that. They're considering doing one of those dining for a cause, potentially in May, and I think they're looking around for what restaurant they might choose to do that. Let's see. They mentioned Taste of Neshoba tickets. They are for sale now at the front desk. That is happening on March 19th. The mini golf event, the evening event is Friday, March 22nd, and the daytime event will be Saturday morning half on the 23rd.
And tickets went on sale today.
And tickets went on sale today. The cookie sale happened last 5 days ago. I don't have any report on how that went, but it's usually picked through pretty well by the time, by an hour into it. It's pretty good. They quoted a number of $296,840 of fundraising since January 2017, 301 gifts, 63 pledges, and those pledges amount to $152,000 to come in based on the pledge. They're working on infographics, and that's it. All right, Sam was there, and I guess I covered it just fine on my own. Didn't need Sam's help this time. So that's the Friends report.
Okay.
There's one other bit, there's the gift they got.
Oh, Middlesex Savings Bank $15,000 grant.
Nice.
Terrific.
Where are we gonna put that?
That's Friends money.
That's friends' money.
The Friends of the Friends of the Library got a $15,000 gift from Middlesex Savings Bank.
Very nice.
Okay, fundraising and public awareness committee report. I was not there. Chris
I was
is not
there.
here this evening. Sam.
Primarily, we talked about the mini golf plans. So let's see. They have one $1,000 sponsor, 8 $250 sponsors, 37 raffle items, one $500 sponsor. So far, $3,500 in sponsors. So I think that covers most of the costs. They have for Friday night. We have several local restaurants that agreed to donate food. Not Your Average Joe's, Anthony's, Masala Bay, Burton's, Tavern in the Square, Taka, Viva Trattoria, and Idlewild so far have all agreed to donate food for that night. On Saturday, we're having a taco truck called Zapatos Mexicana and a Ben & Jerry's ice cream truck.
Wow.
As Mark said, tickets went out for sale today for that. And everybody's working really hard to get more donations and more, just get the word out there. Let's see. We also talked about informational videos. Amy and I are going to do another set on March 15th, a tour of the library, and Demetra said she would interview me for that during that. Apparently I talk too fast, so I need someone to calm me down.
Maybe we should get Ambi in to interview you.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about the mini golf? Is there going to be some kind of a flyer that can be electronically?
I think so. I think they have flyers, don't they?
Probably, I think there, yes.
Okay, good, because I have some places to, you
Okay.
know, sort of tweet that out and send it and stuff, so, good, okay.
Let's see. We talked about Patrick Sweeney from Every Library coming on February 28th. So right now, the plan, for at least on my end, is for the staff to meet with them from 10 to about 12:30, or 11:30, sorry. And then Demetra and I were talking about it, and was that later in the agenda? I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Should we, wait later to
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about that, or
talk
just
about it
discuss
later.
it? Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much everything we talked about. Yeah.
Okay, trustee updates.
I have nothing to update.
Mark?
I have a lot, but I don't know where you wanted to, so, I was to a Space Needs meeting, a week ago Wednesday, where the Space Needs group is going to be, there's an RFQ out to hire an architect to decide what to do for the future of the town offices, the senior center, park and rec, so on and so forth. The RFQ closed Tuesday. I believe there were 4 applicants. A subset of us are meeting next Tuesday to interview some of those. I think we're going to interview 3 of them and pick one to bring to the selectmen at their next meeting to approve and negotiate a contract with. The Space Needs, I think one of the first tasks of that architect, so there's the Friends of the Council on Aging, I think, are the ones that are currently driving. There's a petition going around among the seniors,
Survey.
a survey going around the seniors asking to support a new senior center. And they are asking for, the plan at the moment is to ask for $3 million at the Maytown meeting to buy and renovate the DCU building. So the first task of the architect will be to look at the DCU building and see if it's a viable alternative for a senior center, you know, how much it would cost to renovate it, if the septic works, so on and so forth. Along with looking at, you know, what can be done with this building, and also potentially looking to see, you know, if we'd be just better off building 2, 3, however many new buildings on this campus. So that's all in the works as far as that goes. We met with PMBC recently to bring to them the fact that we're going to ask for money at the Maytown meeting to do the design of the library, and they are in the early stages of working out the RFQ for that process. They're talking about whether, so there's two ways you can put these things out to bid. One, you hire an OPM, and then you hire a contractor. Another is something called CM at risk, and they're trying to make the determination which model would work better for the library, which would be faster, which we would have a better result for. So they're trying to evaluate that internally, and then we're going to work with them to get the RFQ out so that if we have the money in May, we can hit the ground running and have figures for what the library will cost for construction in October.
Great.
Do you want me to fill in on the FinCom meeting, or does someone else want to take that one?
No, go ahead.
So Tuesday, there was a joint FinCom Board of Selectmen School Committee meeting, and in addition to talking about the school budget, they talked about the capital items on there. The library is a capital item for 2020, fiscal 2020, with the building, as is the potential of this $3 million senior center. So the selectmen are currently floating the idea now. It's still in very preliminary stages of allocating $3 million for a senior center and $7-ish for the library, and then taking some money out of the capital stabilization fund. Basically, they would take $7.5 million and fund it inside the levy limit to fund the new library and the new seniors, and a $3 million for a senior center. And this money would basically be coming from the capital fund. Right now, there's $2.2 million. This year, there's $2.2 million that the town can spend on capital items. So that number would be reduced by the cost of the library and the senior center, which was $562,000. So that number would go down to 1.6-ish million a year.
Okay.
So they would fund the senior center and the library inside the levy limit. It's in very early stages of discussion. It's not clear if this will come up in May or October, or if it will happen at all, right? But the discussion's out there.
Okay.
It puts everyone on equal footing. They want to do it together to fund the library and the senior center.
Good.
So no one's, quabbling about one versus the other.
Yeah.
And inside the levy limit, then it doesn't raise your taxes. It's not a current tax increase. So,
Good.
and that sums up my updates.
All right.
What do you think the chances are of that going to actually forward?
I think, I do not know. I think the selectmen will probably end up being for it because it funds both projects without creating a squabble in town. I don't know if the finance committee will go for it because it takes, a quarter of your capital budget away every year and doesn't leave you a buffer for bad years. So,
Trial long.
20 years.
so it's so you'd be borrowing that money against the capital fund for 20 years. There's other projects that have been done that way recently. The fire station and the alumni field were both done basically by taking money out of that capital account. So it's not unprecedented. And the high school is probably effectively done that way now because it was done inside the levy, and as the money comes off for paying off the high school, that number goes back up. So they're also figuring that, if the retail marijuana sales come into town, that will be a tax generator for them. And there's talk of another hotel at the Point that will be a big tax generator. So they think they can make up some of that money.
Yeah. I think they said that hotel was a couple of years out, maybe.
The hotel is in the early planning stages right now, so it's 2 or 3 years out before it would generate taxable.
Where would they put it?
I don't know, but there's talk of putting another hotel at the Point,
Yeah.
and that it would raise 250,000 in
Yeah,
taxes.
there's a spot up there right in front of the theater. You pull up to the theater, when you go into the theater, there's
Yes.
space to the right.
You're right,
There's all,
you're right.
nothing there. And there's room up in the back, I think, a little bit.
Maybe this is a silly question, but why would you have two hotels so close to one another? Are
Because
they
the current one is,
always,
it's
Oh,
fully
it's-
It is
occupied.
Okay,
completely
alright.
occupied all the
Alright.
time.
really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
crazy, yeah.
I thought with the ones in Westford, it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, and they seem to be pretty full too.
See, this one, I don't know.
We are, a mecca, I guess, I don't know. I mean,
So if they can build a hotel, then, it's,
Okay,
That's
yeah, that's
interesting to
great.
me.
Okay.
I have nothing.
The only thing that I want to report is that we will be going before the Board of Selectmen on Monday, February 11th. We're going to be giving a presentation about the library timeline going forward for May town meeting and October town meeting. So I will be there to give the presentation. Sam, Mark, and Chris will attend as well.
All right, so the rest of us should not, because it makes a quorum, or we should just go?
I posted it as a joint meeting, so.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so,
Alright,
do you know what time we're on the schedule for?
we are on
8:35?
I think
Yep.
it's 8:30, yeah.
35, was it?
Yes.
It's almost past.
Well, if I can get out of my other meeting, I'll come.
Susan, do you have any updates?
No, I did my updating about our scholarship recipient. I think we're on track with that, so,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, director's report.
Jeffrey Henry has been hired as our new library assistant. Jeff is from Westford, and he currently works part-time at the Westford Historical Society. He has a master's degree in public history. Yeah, he's been there a couple weeks now. He's doing well. We added several new databases over the past few weeks. A lot. Automate is a DIY auto repair database, so you can go on there and learn how to fix your car if you want.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It shows you little steps.
should have kept yours.
And then we added Home Improvement Reference Center, which teaches you how to fix your house. AmericanAncestry.com is a genealogy website that we got access to. Consumer Reports. I think everybody knows what Consumer Reports is.
Yeah, oh, cool.
Let's see. We added a bunch of new databases for the kids on science and social studies and just general research. Today I added Acorn TV, which is a British TV.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yes.
Acorn TV.
Yes. It's the best British mysteries. It's so wonderful. Oh, goodness. Oh, yes.
Then we added Cello, which is you can go on there and watch concerts and
Oh.
music documentaries.
It's called cello?
Yeah, Cello.
Okay.
Yeah, with a Q though. Pangalo is Spanish TV and movies. The Great Courses Library Collection is 180 courses that you can take online.
Wow.
Method is ACT and SAT test prep site. Learn It Live teaches you about health. And then Artist Works, you can go on there and learn how to play an instrument or
Wow.
get vocal lessons.
When you're not fixing your car and repairing yourself and researching your answers.
You can always sing while you're fixing your car.
Good point.
So, Sam, do we have a database to help students with the AP test prep? Because that might be something good to,
I think
Okay.
tutor.com will do that for you.
okay, because that might be something good to
Yeah.
hook up with the high school
Yeah.
as the APs are coming up.
Well, and tutor.com is already being advertised at the high school. So, yeah.
The next point I think I'm going to talk about later in the other part. And I've been approved as a notary by the state. I just have to get sworn in. And Julie Bernardi also applied.
Do we have that advertised on our website anywhere?
Notaries?
Do we have notaries?
Yeah, I just put it up there about a couple weeks ago.
Just
I'm a
after you-
notary too.
Yeah, basically.
I'm
You're
a notary, yeah.
Well, come on by. Let's see, programming, winter reading is going, well underway. February 14th, I'm showing Bohemian Rhapsody at the library at 7 p.m. February 21st, we're doing Celtic music with Jeff Snow at 7 in the Cooper Room. And February 27th at 7, we're doing strategies to pay the college bill with Jack Wang. He's coming back again to teach parents, talk to parents about how to help their kids pay for college.
February 9th is the bread bake-off.
And February 9th is
Yes.
Brett Baker.
Like Saturday, February 9th? I gotta get my starter started.
Can you send me something about Jack Wang, because I'll put it into the high school newsletter?
Sure.
Okay.
Our family has worked with him.
Yeah.
He's lovely and bright. Yeah.
Yeah, he was really great when he came last time. Oh, yeah, okay. You can take it from this if you want.
Oh, splendid, thank you.
Okay. Was there anything you wanted to say about your program?
No, I was gonna ask if people have any place that they could pass one out. I'm gonna just pass one out.
Yeah.
Start going that way.
Yes, yes,
Sam, did you say that the library was going to get rid of Libby and replace it with a different?
Right now, the consortium is looking at different apps to
Do you know them?
possibly replace it with, but it's not there.
Yeah.
All right, but,
Oh, thank you.
if you could think of some place to put them, like if you go into Starbucks, or I've already been there.
Oh, yeah.
I will.
Non-Starbucks, since you've already covered it.
I did the one in Westford, so we don't want to go.
As far as the financial report goes, we're doing pretty well as far as spending goes on materials. We're pretty much getting into trust right now, so we're gonna start spending out of that. And salary is also looking good.
Okay, good.
Anyone else want to comment on the director's report? Okay, old business, building maintenance issues, the leak, the windows, the light.
Okay. Well, now we're gonna talk about the heat. So when the temperature dropped, it was very cold in the library. Everybody was wearing a coat. We did ask George, our maintenance guy, to send somebody out. They did come out, and they could find no issues with the heating system. This is this in your packet from Michelle the Air. They said basically everything's working correctly. They think it's just that it's an old system and they couldn't keep up with the -1 degree temperature.
Oh, wow.
And then the windows are also part of the issue. So
So they're just going to leave things as is?
there's nothing they can do with it unless we get a new system or
I
a
have
new
a
library.
question, so I have a question about the invoice. Is a big X through it?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I don't know. I got it that way. And we don't pay for this, the town pays for it, so I didn't ask. Yeah.
An X through it, that's kind of, I mean, okay.
Do we have a record of all these, just the library itself, have a record of all these invoices of payments for these repairs and,
Well, we didn't get them because we don't pay for them, the town does.
okay, but you get copies of them or no?
I just got
Okay.
this because George wanted to prove to me that.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah, this
are
is-
these, is this, are those type of documents accessible if you wanted to go to the
I
town?
would assume
and-
so.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Just be interested in knowing how much money we've spent over the past
Yeah.
5 or so years on repairs to the building and maintenance issues. Okay. Library building timeline.
I think that we put that in there to discuss what we've been discussing,
Yeah.
whether or not we want to go in May or October.
Right. Well, as of now, the plan is to go in May to ask for the funds for the design,
Yeah.
to hire the OPM and the architect to find out what numbers we need for October. And then in October, we go for the construction amount. I don't know if there's anything else to be added to that.
So the final decision has to be made by March 29th, I think, is when the warrant for May closes. So, basically, roughly by then, we have to say go or no go for the May. I guess you can say no go after that, but you can't say go after that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, you can pull it after it's been published, but you can't add it. So, at this point, until there's better understanding if some larger articles coming out to cover both, I think we're a go for the 1 point, whatever number it is. The 1.1, we said 1.3, we're waiting for PMBC to kind of finalize what that number will be when they go through the documents, so.
Okay.
So we might have to end up having an extra meeting in March, closer to the end of March to decide. Or potentially being at a joint meeting with the selectmen to figure out what's going on for that, so. I'll keep everyone posted on what I know.
Okay. Endowment agreements.
So, a while ago, we talked about this, but it never really, we never really put together a formal agreement. So this is a generic endowment agreement form that I basically plagiarized from 2 other endowment agreement forms that I found online to make as a generic endowment policy for the library, which I was kind of amazed that, we went through all of these funds that are basically endowments, but there's no formal agreement with any of them. So this is a template to use as an endowment agreement form. And then this would basically become like one of our policy docs, right? So if you want to do an endowment agreement, this is our blanket form, kind of like our naming rights agreement
Yeah.
form. So. And like I said, I basically plagiarized 2 existing forms to create this one.
So did you wish to vote on approving this document?
Yes, it would be nice to approve this document
Okay.
as a policy.
I make a motion that we approve the endowment agreement as presented by Mark Rombacher and as plagiarized from 2 great sources to use in the event that a party comes forward interested in establishing an endowment for our library.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, we have voted to approve the endowment agreement.
Read it.
Plagiarism is the highest form of flattery.
I plagiarized the form from the University of Texas and the Philadelphia organization, I think. So.
Good.
You're signing your shares.
I started from the University of Texas, but it turned out to be very hard because it was like a 3-part agreement, right? Because they have the university versus the college versus, and it just got confusing.
Okay.
New business, I'm gonna ask that we just discuss the ballot initiative and funding first, because Jenna's handling that, and I know that she needs to leave the meeting early. So I don't know how long the first item on the
You
new
have 6
business will
minutes.
take us.
I know, right? My glasses are falling off. Okay, so we as a board, and with the support of the Friends and with the Fundraising and Public Awareness Committee, are going to have a ballot initiative to get out the vote and have people come and support the request for the $1.3-ish million for the initial funding, which, if it passes at town meeting, will then be a ballot vote, correct?
It's
Or is that
unclear.
that's not clear, okay. Well, it will either be a town meeting vote or a town meeting vote followed by the ballot vote. We will need to have lots of people helping in lots of ways to distribute the workload. But with respect to funding, in talking to some people who have done this work in other towns, the estimate is that to do a mailing before May town meeting, a mailing before the fall town meeting, and to do other supporting advertisements and signage and encouragement for people, that the estimate is $10,000. Which, when you look at a $13 million building, is not a lot of money. However, it is a lot of money. And I would encourage this board to consider, while it is a lot of money, $5.8 million to not be used by us, which is sitting in a bank with our name on it, is a huge financial loss to the town. So, to that end, I would ask that we find a way to fund up to $10,000, and certainly any money that's not used would, of course, go back into wherever we took it from.
So do we know what the board is allowed to fund versus what has to be funded outside?
So, some of those procedural and more tricky questions, I believe, are questions that Patrick can answer to us. And if Patrick's response is, no, I'm not really sure about that, then the state ethics and voting and funding committee would be able to. So I was really seeing Patrick's arrival and education to the staff and to the trustees and to other stakeholders as being the sort of the kickoff to the ballot initiative. And he would be able to say, you know, based in his many years of doing this work, if the vote is going to be on the 6th of May, you're going to want to, you know, go back 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever the number is, to begin to be more dedicated to the advocacy around getting out and voting. I feel like in many ways this has been a marathon, and we keep being told that the finish line is just a little bit further. And, you know, when we make a decision either at the March 7th meeting or an interim meeting about whether it's a go or no-go for May, we're going to have a better idea as to whether there'll be an actual ballot vote, or is it just a get out the vote to town meeting. So, much like all of the pieces of this puzzle, they're slowly being put together. But as far as where the funding comes from, if he can't answer that, I'm sure that there's a fancy, that's like the Office of Election Finance.
Yeah, so I know, like, the sewer project, they sent out that flyer.
Yeah.
Right, and if you actually read the flyer, it doesn't ever say vote for it or vote against it. It was
Correct.
strictly informational, and the town paid for that.
Right. And I
So
think,
if we put out something like that,
right,
we can pay for that. But if you want to say, vote yes on May 6th, I
Right.
don't know that we're allowed to
we're
pay for
not.
that.
That I know.
Yeah.
Right,
So-
the town as the governing body can't encourage its citizenry to vote yes or no. They can say, here's all the information, and you can come to town meeting and make a choice. I think it's important that we,
But the Friends can, right?
The Friends could put something out like that, but we could not.
right,
Right.
right.
And I think if we wanted to, I'm guessing that those postcard flyers are not going to be nearly that expensive. I would guess they're
Nearly what expensive?
10,000. I'd guess you can do 2 of them for $1,200, right? I guess you do one in May
I don't
and
know,
another one.
there are 3,500 households.
Yeah. But we send out the mailing
Yeah.
to everyone, and it doesn't cost.
Okay.
The mailing, the mailings are more than, the mailing I think was about 1,200,
Okay.
right?
So
But
that'd
if you're
be
doing
12,
but if you're doing a
24.
postcard, it's gonna be cheaper, right? If you can
Well,
do it-
depending on what the postcard looks like, right? I mean, if you have it like Helen's, it probably is gonna be more than if it's just, you know,
I have a suggestion.
this.
It looks like a low library card, and because I also support another library, I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. We applaud.
In another state.
Yeah,
This was their annual appeal.
that's adorable.
But it is adorable, and that's why I kept it, because I thought we could do something like this. Plagiarism. Just, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's really great,
So-
really catchy.
So I can look
Except,
at,
That's
except
fine,
all,
yeah.
all the young people.
I
wouldn't
can
even
start
know what
asking
this
the
is.
guy that we
Isn't that
had
funny?
doing the printing, how
Yeah.
much it would cost to print a postcard.
With the hole and
I
everything.
know, the
Yeah,
whole,
that's cool.
yeah, it's really cute.
It's super cute. I'm so glad you kept it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Oh, it's great. Okay, it's great. Let's do this. Go talk to your guy and have your guy create that.
I'll start the
But to
conversation. about how
Reuben Moore
much-
Library, not to Blue Hill Public.
Right,
As much
yeah.
as we love Blue Hill Public.
Yeah, I know.
I'll
Alright.
start a conversation on how much it would
Okay.
cost to print postcard.
And I don't think we have to vote the money now, but this,
Yeah.
you know, if Mark can find out what a couple of postcard campaigns will be, and I can
Yeah.
look into, you know, lawn signs, and other, you know,
Yeah,
sorts of, get out the vote sorts of things.
okay.
Okay, so I think February 28th is going to be a really great day for us to get an idea about timelines. And
I need to ask a question about the 28th. What time is scheduled for us with Patrick?
That's,
Do
Oh,
we have that?
well, because the staff was going at 10,
yeah,
and it seems like they're going to be doing this for an hour and a half.
yeah, about 10 to
11:30.
11:30.
I thought that, you know, maybe the trustees should have an hour and a half too. I didn't know if 8:30 was too early for everybody, 8:30 to 10. But I mean, some people
You're
can't take
talking
off.
morning.
yes.
Yeah, they
I
can't take,
teach.
I
Right.
know, they can't, you either can't take off of work or you can't take off the whole day. But
Yeah.
if maybe you could take off early in the morning, it wouldn't affect some people's workday who maybe
Yeah.
have to get in at 9 or 9:30. I don't even know.
6:45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with teachers' hours would be different, but I didn't know how everyone felt about that.
So would the afternoon work better then? Could we do the afternoon, or would you be available then? or-
I am available in the afternoon,
So,
What's-
Starting
what time?
around what time?
from noon on,
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
All right,
well, then
so
maybe what we should do is have Patrick be with the staff from 10 to 11:30. Those of us who can attend come at 11:30. We bring potluck something, we all sit together, we talk, we socialize, and then maybe plan Patrick to start with us at 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
that works for me, great, yeah.
And I don't think, I
Would that
don't believe the staff would be opposed to the trustees listening
be tough
to
to
the
get out of work
I don't think so.
on Thursday?
To the-
Okay, great.
chatting.
No, wouldn't be tough.
Okay. I just have to, hopefully, Chris will be available at that time. Okay.
Great,
That's
thank
great.
you.
So, I'm sorry, I missed the end of that. So 1 to end time in the afternoon? I mean, we
Yeah,
can,
well, 1 to 3.
okay.
When does he have to
Somewhere in there.
fly out?
Yeah.
Well,
I can
Yeah.
contact him and let him know
Okay.
that this is what we're hoping he can be with us. He made it sound like I'll be with you all day. I don't know if that means he's committed to coming the day before, so we don't run into what we did last year. And I don't know if his intention is to stay the night of the 28th and leave on the 1st.
I guess we probably should find out.
I will, I'll call him. Yeah, I'll call him.
And we're going to invite the public awareness and fundraising friends people too, right?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so, yeah, Jenna, that would be great if we could get a timeline from him, where he says, yes, I'm gonna do 10 to 11:30 for staff, and then, lunch from
11:30, 1.
30 to 1, 1 to 3 trustees. I don't have an issue with, public awareness or fundraising or friends sitting in with the trustees. Yeah, okay.
But you're gonna post it as a meeting.
Oh, yeah, I can post it as a meeting.
Okay, Jenna.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Did we ever find out if he's going to allow us to film him?
Jenna said that he does not feel comfortable
Okay.
being filmed. There was some type of issue in the past with another speech that he gave, so he prefers not to. However, he will offer materials for us to view.
Okay.
And then, I mean, we can always speak to him before he comes as to what resources he would be willing to give us, and,
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, so I had to contact LCTV.
okay.
So, on this ballot initiative, this is us doing fundraising and getting out the vote.
It's getting out the vote.
All right, so when town meeting comes and that one article comes up to vote on, who's gonna be in it?
We don't know what the town meeting articles are right now.
But you
So-
said that the two were gonna be put together.
There's the possibility that that happens. We don't know that's happening right.
So if.
Right now, we're going forward as if it's our one
Okay,
initiative.
so we
If
just,
something happens, then we'll change course potentially. But right now, we're going to assume that it's our one article.
yeah, I was just thinking about allying ourselves.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, I know that they're going to discuss the plans for the new COA building on Monday, so maybe we'll get a clearer picture from the BOS that day.
Well, it's how it's gonna get presented at town meeting. If the two pieces get voted on in the same vote, that means it's yay for COA and yay for library, or nay for both,
Okay.
if they're both in the same article.
Okay.
If they were both in the same article, then we could combine on advertising also.
All right, that's true.
Because I'm sure the friends of the COA would wanna do that too.
Yeah,
Come on, vote for this.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I would be, I think we have to continue on our present course until
We find out.
we find out, and I would guess that decision won't, the one article decision probably isn't going to happen until late March. Because there's a lot of horse trading type things that have to go on with, you know, getting FinCom to agree and the finance people in general to agree.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll return to the first item on new business, setting dates for information sessions for the new library project.
So I looked at the town calendar, assuming that we would have information sessions, not just in the library, but maybe in the fire station, the police station. So it looks like the following dates are good. Saturday, March 16th, Wednesday, March 27th, Thursday, April 18th, and Saturday, April 27th.
I'm sorry, Sam, can you repeat
yeah.
those dates again?
Saturday, March 16th,
Yeah.
Wednesday, March 27th, Thursday, April 18th, and Saturday, April 27th. So I would book them at different locations at different times, so that we could appeal to everybody.
Right.
Phil O'Brien, our architect, or possible future architect, I'm not sure if he's still going to be our architect,
Right.
he called me today, actually, and he wanted to know where we were in the whole process, and I told him about these information sessions, and he said he'll come and talk at them if we want him to. I don't know if we want him to, if he's not going to be our architect anymore, so I don't know, but I told him I'd talk to you guys about it, and let him know.
So where will these all be?
Well, right now, it looks like those dates are okay for everywhere,
Okay,
so I just have to contact, it depends on the time.
gotcha,
Yeah,
okay.
so I will, if those dates work for everybody, I'll let you guys know where I went.
Okay. In which case, at the next meeting, if we have one on March 16th, we need to discuss at the next meeting what that particular info session will entail, because if there's a presentation that we need to make, we will need the time to make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sound good. I'm glad that they're on different dates for residents who work or have other commitments,
Mhm.
so they have an opportunity to come and hear about what we're doing for the project.
And do we want to invite Phil to any of these? How do we feel about that? Fine.
It's fine by me. I'll run it by PMDC to see what they think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments on the dates? Okay. We are moving on to main floor exit into town hall.
Okay, so at the last meeting, Mark asked me to look into changing the exit near the bathrooms on the main floor. They go into the teen room,
Oh,
the
yes.
emergency exit. So I asked George to look into it, and he said that for the door downstairs, when they made the Veterans Affairs, it cost $850.24, so it'd be about the same amount.
Okay.
Do we want to pay for that? How do we want to purchase?
And we asked George or Bonnie to pay for it, and then if not, figure, they paid for the one downstairs, I presume, right?
Yeah.
Can I just clarify that to understand? So, you're requesting that the door in the teen room be turned into an exit into town hall?
Yeah, right now,
Okay.
right now the exit, like I came here through the elevator,
Yeah,
I did too.
and this would allow you not to use the elevator
okay.
to get into the town hall. Is the door on the first floor is normally locked, or it's just unlocked when the veterans agent's there?
It's locked, yeah, all the time.
Okay.
And so the door downstairs, for the veterans, it's just the veterans door, it's called?
Yeah, at the moment, I think it still says that it's an emergency exit,
Okay.
even though,
And that cost how much? 800?
yeah, that, when they did it, it was $850.24. You have the,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm confused about the door. Yeah, we do have that, here it is. What had to be done? Wasn't there a door there before?
It's changing it's an emergency exit, so when you
Yeah.
push it, it sets off an alarm. So they take
So
that
just
out,
taking that out.
yeah, and putting in a handle and a lock. I know. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
$150 for a doorknob.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, so I'll ask Bonnie.
Huh.
If she can pay for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Other business. I wanted to discuss Patrick coming on the 28th. I wanted to discuss whether or not, even though we are going to have a potluck lunch, whether or not we can request some funds to pay for beverages and sandwiches to feed the staff and the trustees and Patrick, and whether or not we can allocate a small amount of money to be able to do that, and the rest we can do ourselves through our own generosity. And to see how the trustees felt about that. I would say no more than $100, unless you think that we can do it for a smaller amount.
I don't know, what are we getting?
How many people we're gonna feed?
Well, there's 15 staff, and then 6 of you, that's 21. And then how many of the public, I don't know how many
Mhm.
people from public awareness are coming and friends, so.
Probably not
Yeah.
many.
So why don't I say we allocate up to $100 from MMDT to pay for snacks, beverages, whatever, for the Patrick Day on February 28th.
Okay.
And then we can ask the friends to match that.
Okay, so that was a motion made?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Anyone second it?
Second.
All those in favor? All those
Aye.
opposed? Okay, so that allocation has been approved to pay $100 for snacks and beverages and sandwiches for Patrick's arrival at the end of the month. Is there any other business?
I have one for Sam. The library, I believe, still has a membership in the Boston Athenaeum.
Mhm.
Can we find out information on how we, as trustees, or how people in Littleton, or, can we, I remember, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe even, maybe it was even with Marnie. It's
Went
either
for tea.
Marnie
Yeah,
or
went
Kip,
to-
we went for tea one day
With
as
Marnie for tea.
trustees.
Yeah.
Right, and
Once
that
a
might
year.
be, that would be a nice thing to do again, or to invite the friends to do with us, or something like that. And, I mean, we have the membership, but we don't seem to ever use it, and I don't know what we can do with it, so.
So what do you want me to ask them?
What can we do? How can
Okay.
we use it? I mean, I assume we can't make it like a pass, right? But we should be able to do something with it, considering we have
Do we
it.
still have, I don't even know if we still have it.
Yeah, I get stuff.
We
from them.
didn't
Do you get stuff from them? Yeah?
We didn't turn it in, I know, I mean,
Okay.
we had it when,
I
we
remember
went when I
there
was
used
on
to
the
be
board.
tea and whatever once a
They
year.
tried to buy us out, and we negotiated something different,
Okay.
I remember. But it'd be nice to figure out what we can do with it, either, as a thank you to the friends, or, and thank you to the staff, or a trustees outing, or a pass, or whatever we can do with it. Let's not just sit on it and hide it,
Yeah.
right? Because it's a gorgeous place to go.
Yeah.
And the tea was a lot of fun when we went and did that, so,
And nobody's using it.
not to my knowledge.
And the library is paying for a membership?
No.
Okay.
So the Athenaeum, the library, back when the Athenaeum started, I think, bought shares in it, basically. And
Oh, okay.
so we used to have like 6 shares or something, and when they went more, they changed their structure, and we basically got a membership for free, right? So, if
they
I
tried to-
recall correctly, so
And they tried to buy us out of it?
yes. Yeah. When they changed their structure, the relationship changed somehow, but, as far as I know, no one's used it in at least 6 years, so
I
it would
had
be
no
nice to do
idea we
something
even
with it.
had it. Oh, it's a cool place.
It is. So,
Oh, that's good.
if nothing else, the trustees can go for tea again. Or Susan and I will go for tea.
You are, yeah.
So,
All right.
Anything else?
nope.
Okay, then our next meeting is March 7th, 2019. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, well, we adjourned.
Thank you.